Okay, so tonight is the first night you're going to use a video to do your homework. Kind of cool, kind of exciting, but we might have to make sure you're ready. First, do you have a quiet spot? You have to be able to hear the video quickly without your younger brothers and sisters driving you nuts. Do you have your homework paper out? If you can't find it, go back to the website. Right underneath the video, you should be able to download and print a new copy. And make sure you have a writing utensil. Remember, blue, black, or pencil. None of those funky colors, no crayons, no highlighters. All right, now, as we're going through, watch for the answers to your homework paper. Most of the answers are going to show up right in the same blue you see me writing on the screen right now. That's to help you keep track of what you should write down. If it's going too fast, there's a wonderful pause and stop button that you can use so that you can keep up with the video and you don't feel overwhelmed. Think about it. How many times do you get to rewind the teacher? It's a pretty cool feature. Now, let's get started. All right, so today we're learning about the Beringia land bridge theory. It's really this idea that's trying to answer the question, how did the first people get to North America? Because we know humans were starting somewhere else in the world. Now, it's really important to note that this is a theory. A theory is our best educated guess about how something happened. So we take all the facts we can gather from the time period and we say, all right, this is what most likely happened, but we can't absolutely prove it. Now, why can't we absolutely prove it? Well, all the evidence says that the first people came to North America during the Ice Age. And the Ice Age was somewhere between 12 and 40,000 years ago. So there's not much evidence left from 12 or 40,000 years ago. What we're left with are some spear points, some markings on animal bones. Any of the other information has been lost due to time. What we do know, and geologists can prove this, is that the Ice Age did in fact exist 12 to 40,000 years ago. It did last thousands of years, and during the Ice Age, huge glaciers formed. What happened was the water evaporated from the oceans, it went up into the air, and just like you've learned in the water cycle, it came down as precipitation, but it came down as snow. It was too cold for rain. And all that snow built up into giant glaciers. And these giant glaciers, kind of think of them as sucking up all the water. And as they sucked up the water, what happened was the ocean levels in the Pacific Ocean and the Arctic Ocean dropped. And they went lower by a foot, and then lower by another foot, and then lower by another foot. And as they got lower and lower, we weren't alive, but the ocean floor between North America and Asia slowly, over thousands of years, appeared. This wasn't bang, there it is tomorrow morning, and someone went, oh my gosh, where did that land come from? No, this was so slow, humans during that time didn't notice. And if you look, and you remember the world is round, and we look at our globe over here, we can see that Asia and North America are really close to each other, right at Alaska and at the tip of Asia. And this is right now the Bering Sea, but back then, land was there. And we had land appearing between Asia and North America. So now it's possible for people to get from Asia to North America. Now, how are they going to do that, and why are they going to do that? All right, so our first Americans were nomads. They're wanderers in search of food. So why did they move from Asia to North America? Well, they migrated, or they moved, from Asia to North America because they were following the animals. These people were big game hunters. They were people going after the woolly mammoths, the mastodon, the bison. Basically, these are people who moved when their food moved. And so if the herds didn't move, they didn't move. And that's why this took thousands of years. Because these aren't people who said, oh, let's go explore. No, life was too difficult to explore. These were people who were really focused on the basics of survival. Where is our next meal coming from? Where is the shelter? How are we going to stay alive? And because of that, their lifespans were very short. And this traveling across that land that appeared took thousands of years. So one generation, your generation, might only move a mile because the animals didn't move that much, and then you died. Your children might move 2 miles, and then they died, and their children, and so on. So people were completely unaware of what they were doing.
The Clovis people crossed the land bridge from Asia in the far north and migrated throughout North America.
Paleo-Indians have been in the Chicagoland area for 12 to 14,000 years.
Early humans in this setting are the ultimate predators, far more dangerous than the saber-toothed cats or dire wolves that stalk the territory at the same time. For the ancient Clovis hunters, the early elephant is an enormous prey, taking exquisite skill to bring down.
I have enormous respect for the Clovis people. Before the introduction of high-powered rifles, killing an elephant, Indian elephant or an African elephant, was hard. Even musket balls, you'd have to shoot an elephant 40 times to bring one down. Clovis technology is memoirs, and the way they would attack in groups is probably the most efficient way to kill elephants ever to have been invented before the high-powered express rifle of the 1870s. They would strike and then retreat, strike and retreat, and wait for the mastodon to either lose blood or get stuck in the mud. And so they would just sort of wait for that animal to die.
Mastodon and mammoth hunts couldn't have gone on in Chicago for more than a few thousand years. By 10,000 years ago, for reasons no one knows, both died out completely.
All right, pause and take a second to answer the question about the video. Press play when you're ready to go. Now, at the end of the Ice Age, the climate began to warm up. And as the world became warmer, those glaciers started to melt. And the water ran off into the oceans, and it caused those ocean levels to rise. And as they slowly rose over thousands of years, the land that had been connecting Asia and North America became underwater. And it's now currently called the Bering Strait. Just a quick geography, remember, a strait is a narrow strip of water connecting two larger bodies of water. Now, what is going on with the humans? Well, big game like those woolly mammoths and mastodon and the bison become extinct. Could be because it's getting warmer. Some people think that humans might have actually overhunted them as well. We're not entirely sure. However, what we do know is because humans really couldn't survive just in following those big herds anymore, they had to find another way to feed themselves. And there's a huge increase in agriculture or farming. And I suggest you write agriculture-farming, so remember what that word means. Now, agriculture or farming gives everybody a stable supply of food, and that's a huge advantage because you're not always panicked about where your next meal is going to come from. And when you have a stable source of food, people were able to settle in villages, and as a result of that, different cultures are going to form. Now, what we'll see is some people settle in villages in what we know to be present-day Texas. Some people will settle in villages in what we know to be present-day New York, California, and as a result, we'll see why, those people in all those different areas have very different languages and cultures. But that's a topic for another lesson. Now, if you missed anything, rewind the video, go back, double check your answers, and be prepared for a short open notes quiz tomorrow in class.